Okay guys, so we're going to do question 2 today. Now with Miss Truve, 2 weeks ago you did a question 5, is that right? Yeah, 2 Mondays ago? So I thought I'd take you through one of the other questions from your language GCSE. So first of all we're going to go through what your language GCSE looks like. Next we're going to go through what question 2 looks like, which is the one we're focusing on today. And then how to answer question 2, and then handing it over to you. So first of all, in your language GCSE you will have 2 papers. The first paper is all about creative writing. So it has 5 questions in it, just the same as paper 2 has 5 questions. But paper 2 is more about explorations and viewpoints. So I'm going to be going through with you today, how does the writer use language to describe something. This will always be the same question in your paper. The difference is that it will rest on which source they give you and what they're asking you to look at how the writer has described something. So we're going to look at our source that I'm going to give you now. Now, whenever you're given, in your language paper, you'll be given a source that you've never seen before. It's going to be an extract from a book that it is more than likely that you will never have studied before, as opposed to your literature GCSE, where you'll have studied all of the text they give you. This one is more than likely that you won't have seen it before, so it's really using your skills at understanding a text, what's happening in a text, and what the writer's doing, okay? But you're using the same skills for every source that they give you, okay? So I'm going to read through the source for you now, and then we're going to focus on our question 2. So we have a bit of preamble before in the box. It just tells us what the source is about. So it's about Billy, who is in his final year of secondary school. He lives with his mother and his older brother, Judd. When Billy finds out and trains a wild kestrel bird, Judd kills it out of spite. He has spent Judd's money buying food for it instead of gambling it on a horse race for him. Now there is a bit of an accent with this, so be kind. That's all right. We'll go through it. Okay. So, where is it, Judd? What have you done with it? He turned away to the fireplace and replaced the poker flat in the hearth. It's in the bin. Billy broke from between them, out through the kitchen to the dustbin at the side of the garage. He yanked the lid off and peered down. It was black inside, so he reached down, fingers feeling lightly amongst the rubbish. Then he stopped feeling and straightened up quickly, holding the bird in his hand. He carried it into the kitchen and stood with his back to the living room door to inspect it. Brown eyes open, glass eyes, curved beak ajar, tongue just visible in the slit, head lolling downwards. Swinging whichever way he turned it to brush away the dust and ashes from the feathers, blowing the feathers clean, raising them with his breath, then smoothing them down gently into place with his fingers. He opened one wing like a fan, and on the underside of it, slowly drew a finger down the primaries, down to the body, as though the wing was a feathered instrument, its notes too soft for human hearing. He refolded the wing carefully across its back, then carried it through to the living room. Judd was standing with his back to the fire. His mother was standing at the table pouring tea. "Look what he's done, ma'am, look at it." He held the hawk out to her across the table, yellow legs upwards, Jess's dangling, its claws hooks in the air. "I know it's a shame, love, but I don't want it." She sat down, bringing her face on a level with the hawk. "Look at it though, look at what he's done." She looked at it, curling her top lip, then turned to Judd. "It were a rotten trick, Judd. It were a rotten trick what he did, wasn't it?" "I know, but do you know how much he thought of that bird? He didn't think half as much about it as I did about that 10 quid. He thought well on it though. Take it away from the table then, Billy. It wasn't worth 10 quid, was it? I know, but it were a rotten trick all the same. Take it away from my face then, Billy. I've seen it. Billy tried to get close to her with the bird, but she wouldn't let him. It's not fair on him, ma'am. It's not fair. I know it's not, but it's done now, so there's nothing we can do about it, is there? What about him, though? What are you going to do to him? I want you to do something to him. What can I do? Hit him. Give him a good hiding. Give him a fist. Judd snorted and turned round to look at himself in the mirror after the mantelpiece. I'd like to see her. Talk sense, Billy. How can I hit him? She looked down at her magazine and raised her cup. Billy clenched his free hand and swung at it, fisting it clean off its handle across the room, shooting out a tongue of tea. Judd, watching the scene through the mirror, was too slow to interpret the reverse order of events, and before he had time to turn or step aside, both cup and tea hit him smack between the shoulder blades. Billy was screaming and crying into Judd's ear. Judd was trying to reach over and grasp him by the hair, but every time his hand came back, Billy swayed backwards or sideways out of his reach. Then, with a quick duck, Judd flicked him over his head. They both went for him. Billy stood up and, holding the hawk by the feet, swung it at them. Its wings opened, and the open eyes and the rush of the feathers before their faces halted them long enough for Billy to hurdle the upturned settee and dart out between them, banging both doors behind him. Okay, what is the situation in this extract? What's happened?
Killed the bird.
The brother has killed the bird. Yep, good. Billy has raised this bird. He's found this bird, raised it like a pet, and his brother has got annoyed with him and he's killed the bird. Why was he annoyed at Billy?
Because he didn't spend the money on him.
Good.
Spending it on the bird instead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. So Judd gave Billy 10 quid to go and put on the horse races for him, and Billy decided to go and spend it on birdseed. Okay, so he's annoyed him, and the retaliation of him being annoyed is to kill his bird. What does it show us about the brothers' relationship? They don't get along very well. It's not very good, is it? And how do they resolve conflict? Through fighting. Revenge, through fighting, through being angry with each other. Absolutely good. What's our mother like in this extract then? She doesn't do very much, does she? She tells him to get the dead bird out from under her nose, and she carries on with her cup of tea and her magazine. So this family is slightly dysfunctional in the way of that the boys obviously fight a lot, they're very angry, the mother doesn't seem to do much to control them or to sort out their feelings towards each other. What we're going to do for our question, which is look at how does the writer use language here to describe the dead bird and Billy's inspection of it, is we're just going to look at lines 8 to 16. So can you grab a pen and on your source put a box around lines 8 to 16.
Can you highlight it?
No, don't highlight it yet because you're going to highlight some quotations within it.
Right, what numbers?
8 to 16.
I don't know.
There are numbers at the side to help. Right, so we've got lines 8 to 16 all boxed off, okay? We are not looking for, in this extract, for this question, any of the other lines. We're literally just looking at this part, and we're looking for how the writer uses language to describe the dead bird and Billy's inspection of it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to highlight examples of how the dead bird is described and highlight Billy's inspection of it, so how he examines it, how he treats it.
How the bird is described and how he treats it.
Yeah, that's the first thing you're going to do.
What?
Just in those lines. So highlighting how the dead bird is described, first of all.